A reading from Colossians. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For in him all things in heaven and on earth were created, things visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or powers. All things have been created through him and for him. He himself is before all things, and in him all things hold together. He is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he might come to have first place in everything. For in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell, and through him God was pleased to reconcile to himself all things, whether on earth or in heaven, by making peace through the blood of his cross. And you who were once estranged and hostile in mind, doing evil deeds, he has now reconciled in his fleshly body through death, so as to present you holy and blameless and irreproachable before him, provided that you continue securely established and steadfast in the faith, without shifting from the hope promised by the gospel that you heard, which has been proclaimed to every creature under heaven. I, Paul, became a servant of this gospel. Here endeth the lesson.
Does it surprise you that the vast majority of the New Testament consists of letters? These letters were the best available tools for informing, encouraging, scolding, proclaiming, and praising. Letters were expensive and treasured. They were copied down and even read aloud in worship. Communications tools is one thing, but the content is another. This portion of Colossians that Michael just read communicates central beliefs about Jesus' identity that were coalescing in the early church, that Jesus is God, the head of a community called the church, and that he is the reconciler of all things. These theological concepts are bricks in the foundations of our faith. But as important as ideas, concepts, and theology are, the letter goes on to assure the reader that they are being prayed for. And that makes this more than a letter with news or theological insight. It makes it a love letter. That's the best letter of all. Today, we have an overabundance, a superabundance of communications tools. We have the telephone, email, text messages, social media, and teleconferencing, to name several. And during this COVID-19 crisis, many of us have been forced to expand our repertoire. I see lots of people communicating with family, friends, and neighbors. It's one of the silver linings, I think, of our current crisis. So let's all use these tools at our disposal to follow the example of the Colossians letter and share the bedrock truths about our faith, namely, that it is Jesus Christ who holds us all together. And let's assure each other of our prayers for one another. I wonder who I know who could benefit from a word and a prayer today.